CFL. It's the Argos and Alouettes in game 1 of our Thanksgiving doubleheader. History awaiting number 13. Anthony Calvillo chases the record today. Arrived about 3.5 hours ago. First into the Alouette locker room. And sometime in under 3 hours from now, we expect he will be the all-time CFL and pro football passing leader, and couldn't have been a better day for it. It feels like summer here in Montreal on Thanksgiving.
Back in July, Anthony Calvillo got the touchdown record against the Toronto Argonauts. He got the completion record against the Argos in August, and it's the Toronto Argonauts, the opponent again. 258 yards for Anthony Calvillo, and he'll become the all-time leader in CFL history and in football in passing yards.
And he's excelled under Mark Trestman, over 19,000 yards in 3.5 years under Trestman. Still looking for a win today to stay even with Winnipeg. Jim Barker's team trying to end a 6-game road losing streak. Away we go, and it's Perry Floyd from inside the Montreal 5-yard line, and Floyd takes a heavy jolt at the 21-yard line, and that's where Anthony Calvillo will begin his 300th game in the Canadian Football League.
300th game, and he's averaging this year in his 18th season 305 yards passing per game. The last time he played against the Toronto Argonauts, in that July game, I should say, he had over 240 yards passing in the first half. Jamel Richardson has been his #1 target in the receiving corps. Only 4 times this year under 100 yards for him. And interesting matchup for Andrew Woodruff at guard, and Scott Flory will have to take on Claude Wotan and Kevin Huntley in the interior of that defensive line.
Calvillo needing 37 yards for his 10th 4,000-yard season. They begin double tight end formation, and he's throwing to the fullback, Kerry Carter, out of the backfield, and Carter up across the 30. And that's an 11-yard pickup.
Take a look at that defense for the Toronto Argonauts. I talked to them yesterday, and there's Huntley in the middle of that defensive line. Missed a couple of games this year due to injury. Jason Pottinger is back in the middle. Talked to a couple of those guys about facing Anthony Calvillo today, and they were fired up even more to try and hold him and not allow him to get the 258 yards. And he said, and most of the guys said, you know what, he's going to get that record. We respect what he's done through the year. We want to win the game more than anything.
Starting lineup brought to you by Rona, proud partner of the CFL and its 8 teams. It's a first down, and Calvillo is flushed and stepped up and is dropped about the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard for a guy who has rushed now 14 times on the season and just under 100 yards on the ground.
Byron Parker was one of the guys that I talked to, and talking about how Anthony Calvillo is so tough to intercept. He's so tough to pick off. Only 4 on the season for Calvillo. His touchdown to completion or interception ratio, unbelievable, off the charts. And the Argonauts saying, you know what, he's going to get it eventually. Might as well be this afternoon. As long as they win, that's all they're worried about.
2nd and 9, and there's a conversion catch to Jamel Richardson, who leads the Canadian Football League in catches and 2nd down catches, and a big part of Calvillo's season.
Well, is he ever? I mean, this guy, and Jock Climby talked about it in the pregame show, that he would get Jock's vote for MOP on the season. And, you know, you can make the argument that he should because of the season he's having. He's averaging 109 yards per game. Only 4 times this year has he been under 100, and they lost 3 of them.
6 times in the last 7 weeks, leads the receiving race by almost 300 yards, and he missed a game. And Brandon Winnicker, another of the great weapons, into the secondary, and finally dragged down at the Argo 35-yard line by Byron Parker.
And there's Chris Schultz's vote for MOP and Brandon Winnicker. And we haven't got to who's going to vote for Anthony Calvillo, and he's the guy who pulls the trigger. That was Matt Dunnigan's guy. So you get all the weapons that they talked about in the pregame, and you get a chance to see them this afternoon in the very first series.
So Brandon Winnicker over 1,000 yards in his CFL career, a 24-yard run. Al's looking impressive early. Now it's into the hands of Brandon London. Distributes it and gets another first down as London's taken down inside the 25.
three-time MOP, Anthony Calvillo. And when you look at the all-time leaders in all of football, coming into the game, Anthony Calvillo, that 258. Now he's already chipping away at that. 39 so far in this one series. Already ahead of Brett Favre and Warren Moon.
Racked up 656 yards against the Argos passing this year. And without a 100-yard receiver, that's how much he distributes the football. They fake the sweep. Calvillo on a roll, dumps it off, and Whitaker will be taken down quickly. Good defensive play by the Argos. Jordan Younger, the Sam linebacker. But with that reception by Whitaker, Anthony Calvillo has just passed 4,000 yards. That's the 10th time in his CFL career.
5 seasons over 5,000, and he is on pace for over 5,000. And the guy that he communicates on the sideline at game time is Scott Milenovich, the offensive coordinator. In fact, he told me yesterday, he says very few words during the game to Mark Trestman. And it's everything. If a player wants to talk to Anthony Calvillo, they go through Scott Milenovich, because he likes to get into that zone. And when he's in that zone, he is almost impossible to stop.
Saw the Alouettes convert on 2nd and 9 earlier in this drive, and now looking at another 2nd and long situation at the Argo 21. It's 2nd and 7. Out of the gun, and here comes the pressure, and Calvillo just throws it away. Heat coming off the edge from Ronald Flemons, and the Alouette drive has stalled.
Flemons had some help on the outside of him, but he does get some pressure from the right side of the defensive line, causing Calvillo to just throw it away. He knows he's in scoring range and field goal range, and again, is a guy who is thinking about this game, and the win is his priority, not the record that he could break this afternoon.
Sean White was a questionable starter for this game because of a leg injury, but is in, and he has provided the first points of the game. Alouette field goal just under 5 minutes in. Football in October, then here at Percival Molson, there's a former Alouette, Chad Owens, after a record of his own, 569 yards short of becoming the first CFLer back-to-back all-purpose 3,000-yard seasons. Bringing it out close to the 30 for Stephen Giles' first possession of the game.
5th start for Stephen Giles, as he will lead this Toronto Argonaut offense that will rely more and more on Corey Boyd. He's healthy now, 100%, and Jim Barker told me yesterday that Boyd and Owens will get a lot of footballs thrown and handed their way, and that's the key to this offense was last year. And on their O-line, it's their leader, Dominic Picard, at center.
Boyd, a frustrated running back a week ago. Didn't think he got the ball enough. 11 carries, 60 yards. And a fake there, and Giles pulls it. Tries to get outside, and he gets upended.
Alouettes defense that ranks first against the run, so that'll be strength against strength really for in this game. When you think of the strength of the offense for Toronto is their running game. There's no Jermaine McIlvain. Holden Hopkins plays in the D line. Chip Cox, their playmaker, back there in the linebacking core, and Paul Waldo gets to start at corner.
How about Ramon Guzman with 2 tackles on that goal line stand in Winnipeg. 2nd and 9, and it's swung out to the near side. And we go back in the lineup. Stopped short of the first down by the safety, Jeff Heck.
Jim Barker talked yesterday at length about how much he likes Stephen Giles and his potential, and a chance for Stephen Giles, and he believes if he plays and can get enough playing time and experience under his belt, he could be the guy that they build this franchise around.
Giles is just his 5th game. It's a 2-and-out for the Argos, and Terry Boyd is back as Noel Prefontaine. Line drive, short kick. And Floyd unable to come up with it in the air. He'll take the 5-yard no yards and get tossed down very quickly by Cedric Gagne-Marcoux. Back to Montreal. Let's check in on the sidelines. Here's John Liu.
Well, Glenn, you mentioned that the Toronto defenders are trying to keep Calvillo's yardage below 258, but defensive coordinator Orlando Steinauer said that protecting his former teammate Damon Allen's record was not part of his message to his players. Basically, he's trying to keep Toronto's faint playoff hopes alive, and to that end, on Thanksgiving Monday, he plans to throw what he calls a smorgasbord of plays against Calvillo, a mix of blitzes, man-to-man, and zone coverage compared to the 80-20 split zone to man-to-man, which Calvillo shredded for 2 previous records in their meetings against Toronto this season.
AC with a completion to S.J. Green, stopped for short gain by Sean Smalls on the boundary corner.
Yeah, you think that the Argos would be real fired up. The entire coaching staff, including Steinauer, their new defensive coordinator, did not really bring it up. Didn't talk about it during the week. They are mixing things up defensively, as John mentioned. Byron Parker told me yesterday, he said, you know, it's going to happen. He's had a great career. We just need to get a win. That's all they were talking about.
Blitz picked up there, and the pass sails high on 2nd and 6, intended for the veteran Kerry Watkins. And the Argos get a 2-and-out defensively this time.
You know, and Parker said to me, he said, more importantly, he says, I'd love to pick the guy. You know, it's so difficult to intercept Anthony Calvillo, just 4 on the year. And Parker said, if I could get one on AC, that'd be a great afternoon. And it's a great shot of the football coming right into your Thanksgiving Day living room.
Stephanie Dunthorne, our camera down there, took the worst of that. Mentioned interceptions. Calvillo with just 1 in the last 9 games. Here's White's kick, and Owens is going to let that hit the turf. That's going to bounce a few extra yards on Owens. It'll be a no yards, but the Alouettes will take that. 56-yard boot.
Stephen Giles is 3-12 as a starter in the Canadian Football League, and the Cleo Lemon experiment, when it ended Labor Day weekend against the BC Lions, Stephen Giles became the man. He and Dalton Bell have combined for a completion percentage of 52.7. The touchdown interception ratio is really what they've got to clean up, and Stephen Giles just now starting to get 100% healthy. We'll get a chance to evaluate him over the last 5 weeks.
Out of the gun, Giles going to load it up. He's looking downfield deep, and he's got Spencer Watt, who's had some early success in his career against Montreal last year. A 6-catch, 140-yard, 2-touchdown day against the Owls.
And this is why, you know, there are coaches in the Argonauts organization that truly believe that Stephen Giles has all the tools in the toolbox to become a very good starting quarterback, and he puts this ball right on the money, and Spencer Watt does a nice job of fading to the sideline at the end of the throw to create some separation.
Got in behind the new corner, Greg Leyburn. It's a 46-yard gain, and Corey Boyd's first carry not going anywhere as he is driven back. Chip Cox steps into the hole.
Had a good conversation with Anwar Stewart in that defensive line about Corey Boyd yesterday, and he said right away he has tremendous respect for Boyd because of the power and the toughness with which he runs, and he just said that he hits the hole hard, and we have to be ready for him, because if we take that away, they feel like they have a good chance to win this football game.
Boyd 5th in the league rushing, on pace for just under 1,300 yards on the season. 2nd down, and that goes back for a 1st down. There's Jermaine Copeland with the catch, a former favorite target of Anthony Calvillo.
And a guy who mentioned and suggested he'd like to see the ball more too. You know, he's at the twilight of his career, on the downside of his career, but still very important to the Argos and to a young receiving core and his leadership and the intangibles he brings in the locker room. Looked like he was on his way down in that jump and still was able to snag it.
Still looking for his first touchdown of the year. 1st down. Back DeBoy, there's Guzman stepping up, Cox as well, and they'll drag him down at the 29 for about 2.
You know, that's the toughness that Anwar Stewart talked about. You know, Ramon Guzman's a big guy. He's a 235-pound linebacker who has a clean run in the hole on Corey Boyd, who refuses to go down on that contact. I mean, that's a good form tackle, good position. Chip Cox has to help out, and it ends up taking 3 Alouettes to bring down Corey Boyd. That's the toughness that Anwar Stewart was mentioning.
First time they've had to face Boyd this year, it was Chad Cackert. In the first 2 meetings, Alouette victory, 2nd and long, and there's Stewart in pursuit. Open man and Chad Owens can't make the catch.
Looked like Giles was just trying to get that football just over the outstretched hands of Marc-Olivier Brulette, who's coming across number 10. You're going to see him in your picture. Roll out to the right here for Stephen Giles as that pocket starts to collapse with Stewart on the backside. I'm not sure if Brulette got his fingertips on that or not, but just a little bit behind and high for Chad Owens.
Well, Prefontaine's had a good year, solid numbers, 10 of his last 11, 4 for 4 last week. This attempt from 37 out. Trying to tie this up, and he nails it. So the Argos answer the opening field goal by Montreal. CFL on TSN action continues next when the Rough Riders take on the Eskimos. Game 2 of our Monday doubleheader live coverage immediately following this game on TSN and TSN Mobile TV. And the Eskimos trying to move back into a 3-way tie for first in the CFL West. Rough Riders need a win to stay alive.
Yeah, that's a big, big game for Saskatchewan. If they want any hope of trying to catch a playoff spot, they still have Edmonton twice. So,
how about Saturday night? Was that any good?
Oh, my goodness. Congratulations to Paul McCallum for setting a CFL mark.
Speaking of record setters?
Yep, 30 straight field goals for McCallum, and finished that game in dramatic fashion, hitting a 50-plus field goal to win with no time left.
I'm not sure there's been many more interesting games by a kicker than the one we saw from McCallum on Saturday. Good downfield cover by the Argos, who have been terrific in that area this year. And it's a long field for Anthony Calvillo here with just under 5 to go in the first quarter.
This number and this stat is absolutely amazing. It's on pace for the best ratio, touchdown to interception, in the Canadian Football League. I thought Dave Dickinson's in 2000 would be a mark that no quarterback would be able to hit. Just 6 interceptions an entire year. Calvillo a couple of times has had just 5. 4 this year so far. 3 of them came in the first 4 games, and he's thrown 1 in the last 9.
Interesting that there were only 2 names on that list.
Yeah.
He grabbed, but Calvillo has to throw that away. Nothing was available, and Ricky Foley was closing down.
And that's one of the reasons. I mean, you know, he's got that great ability, Anthony Calvillo, to feel pressure, this time coming from Ricky Foley, make that quick decision, and if nothing's there, save the loss, throw it out of bounds.
So 2nd and 10, he's 5 for 8, 46 yards so far.
A lot of them here.
Pressure. Going deep, looking for Watkins, and Watkins trying to readjust to the ball. It's incomplete. Sean Smalls, the corner, with good coverage for the Argos.
You know, so far the Toronto Argonauts, although they said to me yesterday, most of the guys said they're not really thinking about that record. They played pretty well in this game defensively. That first drive, Calvillo moved the ball a little bit, but they're getting pressure. We saw Ricky Foley on the last play. Flemings was up there as well on this play.
Back-to-back 2-and-outs. Maybe they got the Matt Dunnigan speech late. Remember when Mike Pringle got stopped short of a record pursuit by Matt Dunnigan's Calgary Stampeders a few years back. Stamp came into that game intent on making sure that Pringle didn't get the record on their watch. Owens will pick it up. That'll be no yards. And he's going through. and he might score. Chad Owens gets a block, and he's gone. Touchdown, Toronto.
There's a flag down. We'll see what this flag is. Chad Owens is
definitely a no yards. Was there anything else for Kim Murphy's crew to call?
nice spin move at contact when he caught the ball from Owens.
No yards. Montreal. The penalty is declined.
And that's it.
58-yard touchdown return for Chad Owens.
Watch the spin move when he finally does pick the football, the bouncing football up right there as he spins through the tackle, and then he's gone with one man to beat, and he gets the block he needs from Lynn-J Shell at the end of the return, and Chad Owens finds the end zone. First punt return this year for a touchdown.
As a kick return for a touchdown, that's the third Argo return for a touchdown. And the guy who was with the Alouettes is fired up about that.
Closing into that mark of 3,000 plus all-purpose. And this certainly will help. But a great spin move. If he gets space, we all know what he's capable of when he gets space. And he's going to, that acceleration, you're not going to catch Chad Owens from behind. The only hope there is that for the Montreal Alouettes was that their kicker Sean White makes the play and he's blocked by Lynn-J Shell, because no one's catching Chad Owens from behind.
Walter Spencer usually so reliable on those teams for the Alouettes with a miss, and Owens makes them pay.
Hey.
Well, now that might change the focus of the afternoon.
We just keep playing. We just keep playing. Everyone was watching. My family back home, babies, I love you guys. That's what you guys do.
And right now, Chad Owens might be getting some love in Winnipeg, as Bomber fans would love to get some help from these Argos today in that race for first. And won't home field advantage in the Eastern Final be huge?
Yeah.
Can you imagine the difference playing at Olympic Stadium on one side or at Canadians on the other?
Mark Trestman understands how important that is, and to have that bye to heal up and be one game away from the championship, and a chance again to remind fans, a chance to three-peat as Grey Cup champions.
Grant Shaw gets ready to send it downfield. Perry Floyd awaits, along with Brian Bratton. It'll be Floyd from inside the 5. And the former Bomber snuck through and then gets tagged by Grant Shaw. Well, Calvillo got off to a great start. He was 4 for 4 out of the gate, but since then, the Argos have closed him down. He's 1 for 5, a 4-yard pickup on that one completion since.
Yeah, the past 2 series of 2 and outs, and that D-line for the Toronto Argonauts playing well. Ronald Clemens and Ricky Foley off the edges have provided the pressure for the most part. And in his pregame address, Jim Barker talked about the pressure up front. They need pressure from just the 4 so that they can do more in the back end to cover guys like Jamel Richardson and S.J. Green.
Brandon Whitaker inside. By Pop, fumbled the football. And it looks like the Alouettes get back on it. What a pop that was from Anthony Cannon. And the ball saved by Josh Burt, the left tackle.
And Jiro Kowali was a late scratch. He tried in warm-up to play and couldn't, so Cannon gets a chance to play, and that's called tackling the ball. You put your head right on the football, the ball carrier, and it popped out of there in a hurry, just to the right of your screen. He slides inside and pops it out.
Alouettes fortunate to get back on it. 2nd and 10, looking for S.J. Green, and that over his head was Willie Pyle. Got it. Yes, he does. Pyle with the pick and then steps out. So just the 5th interception of the year against Anthony Calvillo, and Willie Pyle's got his 2nd.
You know, and S.J. Green at the end of this route, he lost the football, and he sort of hesitated when he flipped his hips to the other side. He kind of lost it there, and then didn't realize that Willie Pyle was closing in a hurry. Great range from the safety spot to get from the middle of the field where Pyle started right to the sideline, reading Anthony Calvillo, and something that doesn't happen very often, an interception.
Well, now,
You the man. That's it. Go get it.
defensive captain. 12th Argo interception on the year.
Appreciate it, baby.
And suddenly, the focus has changed here. It's first with Wilson, Stephen Giles to the far side. A completion there.
Well, just how hard it, we just explained how hard it is to intercept Anthony Calvillo. Just his second interception in the last 9 games. Gives Toronto great field position and tons of momentum after the Chad Owens return for a touchdown. The interception and now a chance to put more points on the board.
Interesting to see a catch by Corey Boyd, who complained about not seeing the ball. Jim Barker said that Hamilton schemed against the run last week. 2nd and 2, and a little shovel is tossed out there. And that's a catch by the tight end, Alex Busby. So the Argos reaching into their bag of tricks.
Starts out at the tight end position at the left side of the formation over here, and he's going to come all the way through the fake to Boyd, and this is the option of Stephen Giles. He can give it to Boyd if he sees a big enough hole. Obviously he didn't. He pulls it, sees the influence that Boyd has on the defensive end for Montreal, and dumps it off to the big man.
First down, Chad Owens well offside. Play is stopped, as Owens was about 5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage before the snap of the ball.
You know, I've watched Chad Owens as a receiver this year, and it's a position that he's evolving into. You have to learn that. Jar Kleiman will tell you that's
Offside. Toronto, number 2. 5-yard penalty remains. First down.
You know, or Milt Stiegel will talk about the importance of being patient in route running, and it's not just like a returner who gets the ball in his hands and is gone. He reacts and takes off, and those decisions are instinctual. He just goes where he sees daylight. Different for a receiver, and he's trying to learn that spot, but it'll pay off down the road.
4 of the 5 starting receivers for the Argos have 1 touchdown or have not scored a touchdown yet this year. Time running out. And Giles throws it away and takes a hit for his troubles from Anwar Stewart.
Good composure so far in this game for Stephen Giles. I mean, he's had some pressure, mostly from Anwar Stewart off the edge. And he's been able to make good decisions, not force the football. Pretty good completion percentage early.
Earlier in this drive, a completion to Corey Boyd, and I was going to ask you, don't they have to get Boyd involved in the passing game if they decide they can't run the football? 2nd and 15. Pressure, chip pops off the edge. Giles just gets rid of it. So the Alouettes turn up the heat on that last series against Toronto.
Tough spot for Corey Boyd here. He's got to pick up the blitz, but he's got 2, and he does the right thing by stepping up in the middle and taking the most dangerous. Boyd is right to the right of Giles, and he's going to step up and take Guzman here, but there's one more coming off the edge, and he has to make a quick choice. There's 2 to pick up. He gets the right one, and Chip Cox comes off the edge free.
Final play of the opening quarter, and Prefontaine will look for the pin. Floyd at the 12. Jeremy Roberto will bring him down just across the 20-yard line. 9-yard return, end of 1, and the Argos have the lead.
Volkswagen, das Auto.
Shop at Safeway, swipe your club card, and play. Safeway $1 Million Touchdown to win. You could win $1 million or other great prizes, including a Hoover Max Extract 77 Multi-Surface Pro Carpet and Hard Floor Deep Cleaner, a Lagostina 10-piece stainless steel cookware set, a Hayes Luggage Camo Hardside 3-piece luggage set, a DVD prize pack from Alliance Films, or a trip for 2 to Riviera Maya, Mexico, courtesy of redtag.ca. Shop and play at Safeway.
Well, 258, the magic number, but Anthony Calvillo on pace for 184 after that first quarter.
Yeah, the Argo defense playing well. He had 46 yards passing, so he's now 212 away 42 of the 46 yards came in the first series of the game for Montreal. So defense.
I knew you got to Montreal early, and I wondered why so early. Now I know why.
Would you like
I'm a drumstick guy.
You're a drumstick guy? Okay, well, let me just...
And by the way, your dressing is outstanding. Pounds.
Huh? How about this? I don't even know where to attack it.
I'm just not sure that'll be enough for our crew here. It'll be gone by halftime, I'm sure.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody watching across the country. All the football fans, and I'm going to just spend this quarter digging into this 20.
Calvillo pass behind S.J. Green, and suddenly the Alouette offense spinning its tires against the Argo defense. Well, it looked like he might do it by halftime the way he got out of the gate, but suddenly this offense has stalled.
Well, and again, that July game where he broke the touchdown record against the Argos, he had 246 yards passing in the first half of that game.
2nd and 10. And here's Whitaker with some blocking. Cuts it back. And Brandon Whitaker is dropped at the 29-yard line, but that will be short of the first down. It's another Montreal 2-and-out.
You know, when I had a conversation yesterday with Anthony Calvillo about the record and everything, he actually was quite honest, said, you know, I'm not going to be able to enjoy any of that. I mean, he is so focused when he prepares for football games, and that includes every day of the work week. The first guy in the room, he's in at 5:30 in the morning every single day to prepare.
John White with a kick and fighting it. Chad Owens didn't see that football. And then he gets nailed, but there is a no yards flag down. He was fighting the sun, and that turned into an adventure. Well, maybe this fellow from the Cornell Big Red Marching Band is Simon Cowell's next superstar. The biggest prize in television, the X Factor new series, continues Wednesday at 8, 7 Central on CTV.
Kent Austin coaching in Cornell.
Kent Austin, top 10 or 11, number 11 on the all-time pass list. Double check that. Argo's going to work on offense. And Giles throws incomplete. Preche Rodriguez hadn't turned around as he was working against Seth Williams on the corner.
A couple times in a row now that Chip Cox has come on a blitz defensively, and it's getting picked up, this pressure, pretty well by the O-line and Corey Boyd. And the problem for the Argos in this blitz pickup right now is that the receivers are not adjusting at all. They're sticking with their regular routes, running down the field, and they have their back to Stephen Giles as he's getting that pressure. Eventually the protection will break down.
Kent Austin, number 11, by the way, on the all-time list. Giles, there's Rodriguez up to it, but that's a short one, and Diamond Ferry was there. Ball popped loose. You heard the whistle. The Alouettes will take it down into the end zone just in case, but I don't think we'll get a challenge on that.
Now, you mentioned Corey Boyd in this Argo offense, Chris, and I couldn't agree with you more. You know, he's just a guy that Giles has got to get the football to, whether it be running the football or getting it out of the backfield. They won 9 games last year because Corey Boyd, when he rushes for 100 yards, they win, plain and simple.
Now, you remember the Commonwealth Stadium, that spectacular catch he made in the end zone? We know he can be a receiver. We haven't seen much of it this year.
Now, early on, he was nicked and hurt. Took a while to get back.
Prefontaine just got that away, but they stopped play. Fan ran out onto the field, and he looked like he was going to get into the traffic, and so the play stopped. Alouettes came close to a block there. Might not have stood up. Somebody had a little too much turkey.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was the turkey.
Or if he is, indeed.
Maybe wild turkey.
Timer, reset the clock to the previous time. We'll replay 3rd down.
But you know, that could have had Montreal, who were so close to blocking that kick, had they got to that kick, That wouldn't have counted. They would have replayed this down, and that's... Fans, enjoy it from the stands, please. Might hurt your home team.
Better kick by Prefontaine. Floyd at his 33, bubbles back, loses yards, and dropped at the 28. That's a loss of 5 on the return. Welcome back to Montreal. Here again, John Lou.
Well, guys, with Anthony Calvillo needing 204 more yards, let's do a little record book roll call. Eric Delorier caught the 395 touchdown pass. Brandon London hauled in the historic 5,159th completion. So there's speculation as to which one will put Calvillo over the top in yardage. But there's no speculation going on in the Alouettes dressing room. But if there was a sentimental favorite, according to Jamel Richardson, it would be Kerry Watkins, the most senior member of this receiving corps.
On a roll, that's S.J. Green with the catch and upended on the play by Evan McCullough. As the Alouettes finally are able to get a first down after a few 2-and-outs.
Yeah, and you know these receivers are they want to be the answer to the trivia question as to who is the receiver who caught the ball when Anthony Calvillo broke the record. S.J. Green on the out route here. He gets separation. He can be patient on that route because he knows his quarterback is rolling with him.
16 for S.J. Green, closing in on his first 1,000-yard season. And off inside, Brandon Whitaker's got some running room to midfield and into Argo territory. Ricky Foley finally brings him down.
I think most important for this Alouette offense is just to get their offense on track. I mean, it's been too many 2-and-outs in this game, and Calvillo get back to the regular offense where he sprinkles in Whitaker, mixes the run, and then off of that can then go play action. So Scott Mladenovich, good play calling out of this series early. A roll on first down to get Anthony Calvillo outside of the pocket, and then on second down right back to the run.
11 for Whitaker, who has shredded the Argos defense this year in 2 games, 396 yards from scrimmage. So they give it to him again, and down to the 50, he has 4. Whitaker leading the league in rushing, now over 1,000 yards in yards from scrimmage, and as a running back, the most catches, 55 coming into the game.
Has 400-yard games, and I was going to say Avon Coburn, who the former Alouette, now the Hamilton Tiger Cats, he's starting to leave that second spot behind. He's got a good lead.
2nd and 6. Calvillo over the middle. He's got Jamel Richardson. Brought down by McCullough again, but that's an Alouette first down inside the Toronto 30 to the leading receiver in the CFL.
They can do so much with Jamel Richardson, and they will. They'll put him out there as the only receiver in the short side of the field, and he gets that one-on-one matchup on Sean Smalls, who falls down as he tries to cut inside with Richardson. Yesterday, I said to Richardson, if I was a D coordinator, I'd W every play. He said, how are you going to do that? I'll move all over the field.
21 that time, and now S.J. Green on the hit. Down to the 25, and that's 4 more.
Now just 163 yards away from Damon Allen, finally getting this offense going, and I believe it really has a lot to do with Brandon Whitaker and getting the run game going, and how much they work together.
Leading passer, leading rusher, leading receiver. 2nd and 6, we've seen them convert twice to Jamel Richardson. What do they do this time? Calvillo crushed and tripped up. Good sure tackle by the blitzing defensive halfback Lynn J. Shell. And so the field goal unit has to come on.
Lynn J. Shell and Willie Pyle over 120 tackles for this Toronto defense. I mean, Lynn J. Shell leads the team coming in. And a little extra kick to the head as Anthony Calvillo was down. No penalty flag.
So Sean White from 33 out. Ricky Santos is the holder. And Sean White puts it through. Argo lead is now 4. Our sack tally brought to you by Purolator, tackling hunger across Canada. Check.
A good game by the BC Lions on Saturday, and Winnipeg Blue Bombers still lead the way, have for the most part all year long.
And our hats off to the folks at Purolator for a terrific promotion that's especially significant at this time of year.
Helps a lot of people.
So under 9 minutes left first half, Chad Owens has the biggest play of the game, that punt return touchdown that has vaulted the Argos into the lead. And after the Sean White field goal, Toronto opting to receive the White kickoff out of the scatter formation for Montreal. And again, fighting the sun. Owens makes the first man miss and then gets dragged down at the 36-yard line.
Well, we have a second. We should mention that football world lost a legend in the National Football League, and Al Davis passed away on Saturday. 51-year pro career. Offensive coordinator for the Oakland Raiders, Mark Trestman, worked for Al Davis, and the AFL commissioner in 1966. Football fans across North America have lost a legend.
Argos swing it out to get it into the hands of Owens, and Chad Owens has a first down up across the 45-yard line. Well, a man who made a huge impact on the life of Alouette coach Mark Trestman.
He meant a lot to a lot of people. I mean, he was really an owner who really knew football. I mean, he knew football at the base levels on up. He could coach either side of the ball. He had an understanding of personnel. I got to spend 3 years in the draft room with him. It was amazing how he worked and operated, and how he enlightened the coaches as to how to go about evaluating players.
Chad Owens series for the Argos, brought down by Paul Waldo.
Yeah, just really did it his way without question. And you know, Mark Trestman went on to tell us yesterday about how impressed he was with Al Davis and his ability to sort of transcend gender and hire a woman president and race. When he hired Art Shell as the head coach in Oakland, he was the guy who hired John Madden when he was just 32 years old. Took a chance there that worked out very well for him, obviously. He did it his way.
Second down, Giles is an open man, and the Argos have a first down on that sidelines pattern to Preche Rodriguez.
You know, you really have to give this Argo team a lot of credit. I mean, this game was all with Anthony Calvillo on the marquee and his record, and they were trying to really downplay that. Not anybody across the country giving the Argos much chance to even compete in this game, and they're battling.
Apparently not accepting the role as Washington Generals today.
Well, that was the talk. It was basically the Globetrotters versus the Generals, but not for them. They don't feel that way.
And that all the attention was on Calvillo and what looked like a surefire record, but maybe the Argos were playing poker with you yesterday, saying, nah, he's got to get it.
You're right, you know, and that could have been it. You know, the coaching staff said they didn't address it all week long, and the players tell me they didn't care. It was no big deal. They respected him, and they probably get it this afternoon, and they just kind of blew it off that way. And I was quite surprised by that, but you're right. Maybe they were just great poker faces saying, no, we're going to come out and play football.
Shorten the playbook this week, focusing on better execution. Second down. Play action fake, plenty of heat, and there's the inside screen to Boyd. And Boyd gets taken down. Ramon Guzman, who's been laying out heavy hits all year, with a late flag after the tackle. And who's this going against?
I think it may go against the Alouettes, and this is a concern for them. And this is a very good football team that you know, I think Mark Trestman will tell you is a team that has a chance to go back and try and get that third straight championship. But the one concern he has.
It's a foul, unnecessary roughness. Montreal, number 40. 15 yards from the end of the play, automatic first down.
That's Diamond Ferry. This Alouette team had over 200 yards in penalties a week ago.
Yes, and that was his concern. He really felt that unless they clean this up, the chance to win that third championship in a row is going to disappear on them. And Diamond Ferry has been one of those guys. He's had a few discipline issues over the last few games.
22 unnecessary roughness penalties coming into the game. Corey Boyd off the right side and trying to keep the feet moving. Ramon Guzman wraps him up once again.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all to see Diamond Ferry on the bench. I mean, the defense is out there. Diamond Ferry, and without Shea Emery, is important. Diamond Ferry, Ramon Guzman, and Chip Cox are starting linebackers, and he's on the bench. And this is clearly a message trying to be sent by Mark Trestman that will not be acceptable. He talked about his concern with discipline. He's trying to work on that.
Penalty extends the drive. Mark Olivier Brouette in for Diamond Ferry. Second down, and Giles brought down quickly. Wanted to take off, but Kitwana Jones said no.
Kitwana Jones getting his chance to play. He's at stand-up position, left side of the defensive line. You got to admire Kitwana Jones' career and perseverance, because he's 7 years in the league. He's been a special teams player, but whatever team he plays on, he contributes, whether he gets a few reps on defense or covering those kicks.
But the penalty against Ferry brought it into field goal range for Noel Prefontaine from 35 yards out. And Prefontaine's got it. And the Argo lead is a converted touchdown once again.
Yeah, and that's right. That's 3 points on the board. And that's exactly what Mark Trestman was talking about yesterday, and why Diamond Ferry did not play the rest of that series. Let's take one more look at the penalty. And this is stuff that's totally avoidable. I mean, Corey Boyd is down. Yes, it may have been a borderline late hit there from Dominic Picard, but no big deal. That's where you maintain your discipline and you walk off the field, stopping the offense and forcing them to punt. Mark Trestman will not have it the rest of the season. I guarantee you, he's going to crack down on these players about discipline.
So under 4.5 minutes remaining here in a first half that has been a surprise. 163 yards away is Anthony Calvillo. Richardson. Anthony Cannon will take him down near the first down stick. Cannon in for Jiro Kuali, who could not guarantee he could start and finish today. So Kuali, a late scratch.
Yes, he is. And Damon Allen, Anthony Calvillo knows that Damon Allen is watching, and he's here in Montreal. And when they stop the game, if it happens this afternoon, Damon Allen will be part of that presentation. Anthony Calvillo chips away.
First down, the out, complete. Harry Watkins.
You know, when you look at the numbers, I know Jock Climby in the pregame show talked a little bit about this, but Anthony Calvillo, if he does it this afternoon, will do it in over 600 fewer attempts and 70 fewer games. I mean, if you projected Anthony Calvillo's numbers, and this is taking nothing away from the great career of Damon Allen, he would be just shy of 95,000 yards if he played those extra 70 games.
Double tight end on second down, and Brandon Whitaker across midfield and will be close to the first down. Should have it. Just in defense of Damon, because it's a time to almost recognize what he did as well. A guy who is also 4th on the all-time rush list for the Canadian Football League. The 3-minute warning being given here in Montreal, where we can match the buffet smorgasbord of the panel back there. Here's Terry Watkins with a catch and another first down, and suddenly the Alouettes have something going.
You're right, Chris, about that. And I know it's not great broadcaster etiquette, but This 22-pound turkey doesn't have a chance, my friend.
I think it's down to about 21 pounds now.
Yeah, they do have something going offensively. I think Kerry Watkins, as John mentioned, is a sort of a sentimental favorite. I think a lot of his teammates would like to see him make that big catch. Anthony Calvillo can cross that threshold this afternoon.
Tough year for Watkins, just 22 catches coming in. There's Whitaker straight ahead. And good first down production there to the 32-yard line.
Yeah, that has been a key. When the Argos have been able to get those 2 and outs like they did in the first, it was good production on first down defensively to limit the gains. But this series has been the opposite. Nice move in the hole for Brandon Whitaker. Just didn't have anything right at the point of attack. Little shake and bake, bounced it, and your leading rusher in the CFL picks up good yardage.
Has a sizable lead over the former Alouette, the man he took over from. Adrian McPherson checks in with the short yardage crew. And in behind Scott Flory, he'll push across the 30 and give AC a fresh set of downs. Haven't seen it in this first half of the Alouettes. Been great time possession-wise this year with over an 8-minute advantage over the Toronto Argonaut time of possession on the season.
Very lopsided when these two teams have played. The 2 times they played, once in July, once in August. And when you're upwards of 36 minutes, almost a full quarter more in those 2 games, that the Anthony Calvillo and the Alouette offense had the ball.
So first down at the Argo 29. Looking for S.J. Green, and nearly picked off. Lynn J. Shell read the play. There is a flag, and Calvillo helped up.
Interesting where Anthony Calvillo here tries to change the ball.
Roughing the passer. Toronto, number 98. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Claude Roten with a costly penalty.
That was after the ball was out of his hands. And you take a look, could Roten have pulled out? I mean, could he have pulled off that hit? And looked like he could have, although he didn't launch on him. He could have avoided it.
Former St. Louis Ram, who was challenged by Jim Barker a few weeks ago to put more pressure on the quarterback and take the double team away from Kevin Huntley. There's that pitch to Richardson down to the 5-yard line.
For Alouettes, he does get enough to get the first down. It looks like, or it'll be very close. They can get the first down without scoring.
James will come out. Very close. Richardson making his 4th catch of this first half for 58 yards.
Right in that area, too, where the football is here. If they have the first down, looks like a little bit short, a couple of inches.
They probably are happy about that. Gives them an extra down inside the 5 as Adrian McPherson comes back out.
But in that area where you wonder if the play call may be to throw it in the end zone for Anthony Calvillo, and he can add to that total over 400 touchdown passes.
So McPherson is in, the heir apparent. It's just not apparent when he'll get to take over. Touchdown of the year for Adrian McPherson.
Argo's expecting him just to drive forward and get a couple of inches for the first down, get Calvillo back on the field, and Adrian McPherson fools him by bouncing outside, gets a lead block from Darren Diedrich, and scores himself.
So the Alouettes have their first major of the game. And a Sean White point after from equalizing here late in the first half. game is tied after that 9-play, 75-yard touchdown march, capped by McPherson, engineered by Calvillo, that took less than 3 minutes.
Nice touchdown run there by Adrian McPherson. He gets that lead block by Darren Diedrich, who's going to take on linebacker Tristan Black and drive him down. And then Pottinger, who wants to come in and fill the inside hole, now has to bounce outside, and he can't get there in time to stop Adrian McPherson. That's the hole Pottinger wants to hit. But you can see now he can't because of that great block by fullback Darren Diedrich. Well, tailback, actually, Darren Diedrich, but played the fullback role on that play.
So an important touchdown for the Alouettes here to even the count here late in the first half. And again, it's worth noting that we keep talking about the record, but this game critical for the Alouettes as they try to keep pace with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Little separation from the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
No question. And I really believe when I'm watching this offense get on track for the Montreal Alouettes is when they get great production from Brandon Whitaker and their run game. And when Whitaker right now, who has 6 carries for 54 yards, is having success, then Anthony Calvillo opens up the playbook for him.
White sends it downfield again. Owens fights the sun. Couple skips, looks for a hole. Kitwana Jones says there isn't one available. Kitwana Jones, that special team demon, with another terrific play.
Take a look at that last touchdown drive from Anthony Calvillo, and play action to Brandon Whitaker there. Gets it to his star receiver, Jamel Richardson. Kerry Watkins, the veteran, involved distributing the football a lot of different ways, a lot of different areas. There's the run game involved again. And the discipline issue that cost Montreal points by Diamond Ferry in the last series, 3 points. All discipline for Toronto and Claude Wooten in that late hit on Anthony Calvillo, part of that drive.
Stephen Giles has thrown for 99 yards, and he has Jermaine Copeland with a one-hander across midfield, dragged down by Jeff Heck, and a flag flies at the end of the play. Jermaine Copeland, the former Alouette, with a huge play. And lots of time for the Argos to regain the lead.
That was pretty. And just watch this, the slant route over the middle. Really a shallow post for Jermaine Copeland. Just stabs it with his right hand.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, horse collar tackle. Montreal, number 24. 15 yards from the end of the play, automatic first down.
Well, they call the horse collar on the left hand, bringing Copeland down. Looked like Heck just avoided the face mask with the right hand, but that's 15 yards more. So a 27-yard pass play, 15 tacked on, and the Argos have a first down at the Montreal 35. Short drop, long throw, into the corner. Incomplete, intended for Spencer Watt. Seth Williams in coverage.
Set up a second down after this catch. Let's take another look at it. It's worth taking one more look. Nice one-hander over the middle by the veteran Jermaine Copeland. He's not having a great year. I mentioned he's in the twilight of his career. He's not scored a touchdown yet for the Toronto Argonauts, but his personal best this year was against Montreal when he had 6 for 78.
Now under 100 yards away from 10,000 in a distinguished Canadian Football League career. Second and 10. Giles running out of time, and they got him back at the 45. That's a huge sack by Anwar Stewart, the 5th of the year for the veteran Stewart, and it may have knocked the Argos out of field goal range.
You know, a guy that I think the Alouettes organization were looking at as sort of a rotation type of defensive lineman at the beginning of the year, and Anwar Stewart, when he got his chance to play regularly, just did what he does, which is get to the quarterback, make plays, even has one more interception to his total as an Alouette. He's one of the all-time great pros in the Canadian Football League.
Left last week wearing a watch. Well, they do knock them out of field goal range. The Argos don't try a 51-yarder, but you know they might have something up their sleeve. No. It'll be a kick from Prefontaine, and that one will bounce out at the 16-yard line. But a costly sack the Argos concede that squanders a chance to take the first half lead.
And I talked to Anwar Stewart about Anthony Calvillo and his record yesterday. He said, you know, the team hasn't talked a lot about it. It'll fall when it falls. But he said, boy, it has been a great pleasure to be able to be a defensive player with Anthony Calvillo as your quarterback for as long as Anwar Stewart has, which has been 9-10 years, and championships. And he said the rest that we get on the bench, having one of the best, if not the best quarterback in the game, can't emphasize how important that is.
Oh, nearly picked off, but somehow dropped by Jordan Younger. It bounced into his hands and looked like it got knocked out as he was eyeing the end zone, and a pick six.
Yes, I think that was the problem for Jordan Younger, Chris, because he had it in his hands. He just started running before he secured the football. Bounces up there. Anytime there's a high throw, the defensive backs and linebackers has a chance at it. Kerry Watkins, the intended receiver, on the curl. He just kind of slants in, curls there. The ball comes up a little high. Excuse me, that looks like Jamel Richardson who makes the tackle.
Yeah,
that's
a huge play by Jamel Richardson, isn't it? 2nd and 10. And that pass incomplete. Ball back. So instead of trying that long field goal, they played for the 2 and out, and they get it.
And they're going to make Anthony Calvillo earn it. And you could see a little bit of frustration coming through the veteran quarterback, which he rarely do you ever see him show his frustrations outwardly like that.
4th 2 and out of the half for the Alouette offense. Calvillo 124 away, and Orlando Steinauer has been calling an impressive game so far. Just 9 seconds on those 2 plays. Pressure on the kick. Owens shielding again. And crossing midfield. So down to the 45 with 34.6 left.
Which is lots of time. I mean, you have to use it efficiently, use the clock efficiently, get it possible in the passing game. Occasionally teams with this much time will even try and sprinkle in a draw play and maybe catch the defense thinking pass all the way.
Well, I wondered about whether you'd risk a run play and the time that takes up with Corey Boyd, who's only carried 4 yards. Trying to enhance the field more, and Boucher Rodriguez can't bring it down against Seth Williams. On the corner for the injured Mark Estelle.
Well, you get the feeling Boucher Rodriguez's last chance. He's going to have 5 games here for the Toronto Argonauts to try and prove that he deserves a roster spot for invite back to training camp. That's not going to help his cause. He had it in both hands. Pull it in.
Brandon Rideau has checked in. It's loud here, Montreal. 2nd and 10. Jumps off underneath, and that's a catch for Spencer Watt. And it will be 3rd down, actually giving forward progress to the 41 or so. So Prefontaine will come on to attempt a field goal, 49 yards out.
Longest on the season, 47. Really no wind to speak of. If there's even a little breeze, maybe at his back, but like we saw in the Calgary BC game this weekend, there's often good returners in the end zone that if you miss a long one, set up that big return.
And they're going to run this clock right down to
timeout.
3 seconds remaining.
Toronto.
Well, Jim Barker has to be happy with a lot of elements in this first half. And a chance here to take the lead after 30 minutes.
I've been impressed with their play on defense. You know, there's been a couple of series for Mark Trestman's offense, but Orlando Steinauer mentioned that he had a game plan. He was throwing a whole bunch of different looks.
As you mentioned, this will be the longest of the year for Prefontaine. From 49 yards out. And he's got it. Plenty to spare. And the Toronto Argonauts take a lead to the locker room after 30 minutes on Thanksgiving in Montreal. Live at the half coming up.
It's Speed Weekend on TSN and TSN.
Thanksgiving Monday in Montreal. The Argos with a 3-point lead. Anthony Calvillo's 124 away. John Liu standing by with one of his favorite targets.
Well, SJ, an uncharacteristic 4 2-and-outs, but they sandwiched 10 points. What happened in those two sequences that you identified what Toronto's defense were doing and were able to put points on the board?
You know, we just got to get right, man. We're not doing what Alouettes do, and we're not playing our ball. We got to get back to our fundamentals and just do what we do. We'll be all right.
Should Calvillo reach the mark in the second half, the game will stop. There will be a ceremony. How do you as teammates pay tribute to what he has been able to accomplish this season and will probably accomplish today?
You know, it's a great feat, but you know, we got to win this game first, John. We got to win this game. We're worried about the records and celebrations afterwards. We got to win this game right now.
Okay, thanks, SJ.
Calvillo, 134 yards passing in the first half. One interception is 124 yards to go. They're trying to get the band off the field.
I thought we were going to reenact that great college play of a few years ago. The band was enjoying their performance so much that they didn't want to leave the field. We're getting set to start the second half, and will it be an historic one for Anthony Calvillo?
First series, moved the ball down the field, had 42 yards passing in his very first series, and looked like he was going to get to that record number maybe in the first half, but the Argo defense stiffened up and played a much better second quarter in the second half of the first quarter, forcing, I think at last count it was 4 2-and-outs. So 124 yards to go for Anthony Calvillo, and we've got a ball game.
42 yards in that opening series when he started 4 for 4. Sean White to kick it off, and the second half underway, and it's out of bounds. So the Argos will get great field position to start the third quarter up at the 45-yard line.
Oh, they flagged on that play too. It was way away from where the football went out of bounds.
And an indication from Ramon Guzman, this might be against the Argonauts. Pretty clean first half in terms of penalties, but for the
Diamond Ferry
one that drew the ire of his head coach. Argos the second least penalized team in the Canadian Football League, number 4, the Montreal Alouettes. BC has taken the fewest penalties this year.
Illegal kickoff. Montreal number 6. Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Toronto, offsetting fouls will re-kick.
Didn't get a number on the unnecessary roughness. It gives Mark Trestman's group a chance to go and line it up again and try and keep this football in bounds this time on this kickoff.
So the Argos special teams goes back to the sidelines, conferring with Michael O'Shea, which might be what they do every time anyway, but it also might mean that we could see something interesting.
You just never know since Michael O'Shea has taken over as the special teams coordinator. Last year, all the fakes that they ran successfully and continue to do it this year.
I think he may be more interested in debating the penalty call on the Arcos on that last kick return. Well, let's see. Still a conference at midfield. And so we'll pretend the first kickoff just never happened.
I gave everyone a chance to grab one more big slice of turkey. And then they settle in for this second half.
They're a couple pounds in now. And the split kick goes to the other side. And Aaron Parker's got it. Up to the 34-yard line.
Boy, really two quarterbacks at different spots in their journeys. I mean, Stephen Giles, who organization believes is going to be the future. They'd like to sign him to a longer-term contract. Anthony Calvillo looking to become the all-time passer in CFL history and in football. 124 more yards. You know that Anthony Calvillo in his playoff games and Grey Cups alone has thrown for more yardage than Stephen Giles in his starts.
Back into the hands of Owens. Couple miss, and Diamond Ferry back into that defense with the tackle across the 40-yard line. And it's a 7-yard pickup for Chad Owens.
The only thing that's kind of hanging over Stephen Giles' head, I believe, is just his record. I mean, he's had chances to start. 3-12 as a starter. This is 16th start in the Canadian Football League, so it's right at the very beginning, like a Travis Louis or Darian Durant a year ago.
Part of that hard luck season for the Bombers last year. And that pass is incomplete. Billy Parker all over Brandon Rideau.
You know, and I'm not sure he's even completely 100% healthy. I mean, Stephen Giles coming off that shoulder, he basically did not have a rep in training camp or through the season, was on the 9 game. His shoulder can't be completely 100%, so he's starting to work out that injury. But he's a guy that has a lot of tools in his toolkit. I mean, he's got the cannon strong arm, good runner, and according to his teammates and the coaching staff, a real bright guy.
Prefontaine launches. Harry Floyd at his 25-yard line. Can't get outside, and right back into the heavy traffic, where Xander Robinson makes the tackle. Early third quarter, let's check back in with John.
Well, guys, with all the footballs that Anthony Calvillo has been accumulating for his records and milestones over the past few years, you'd think that he'd have a fancy trophy case to display them, but not so. Those footballs are just sitting simply on a shelf in the Calvillo living room. Each ball still surrounded by the tape marking each achievement. So Calvillo's wife Alexia posted a picture of the Shelf of Honor on her Facebook account. Her friends actually had a good laugh at it because it's so unpretentious, but really, would you expect anything less from a humble gentleman that Mark Trestman calls the Alouettes everyman?
I was going to say, that is certainly in character, isn't it? And so was that last pass to Jamel Richardson.
Well, you know, and it is in his character. I mean, that's the type of guy he is. I think, you know, when you talk to his teammates, you talk to Mark Trestman, and you don't have to be in a conversation long with the man himself and Anthony Calvillo to understand that humility. I think that's maybe his greatest character trait. I mean, you know, and he had to persevere. His start to his career in Hamilton and in Vegas was a rough start, and then had to humbly back up Tracy Ham for 3 years before he got the reins.
There's Brandon Whitaker inside. Big game. Whitaker, first down across midfield. Leads the league in 10-yard or more carries. 15 on that last one.
And that lead on Avon Coburn just continues to grow as he continues to rip off these 10-yard plus runs.
7 for 69 on the day, but just going back to Calvillo, did not have a 3,000-yard season. He's had his 10th today, 10th 4,000-yard season.
Yep.
Didn't have a 3,000-yard season till his 7th year. Took time. Inside again, bouncing around and bouncing it out. Flag down as he hurdled one tackler down to the 45, and let's find out what the flag on the field's all about.
No, you're right, Chris. I mean, and some of those teams, especially the early Hamilton teams, they struggled offensively, struggled on the O-line. He took a pounding in those first years. It's great perspective for football fans who have young quarterbacks like Darian Durant, Travis Lulay, who are, excelling so early in their career. And
holding Montreal, number 59. 10-yard penalty remains, first down.
Josh Burke, the culprit that time, and they'll march it back into Alouette territory.
There's just not many times where a quarterback does what Ricky Ray did and just kind of shows up on the scene, or even really what Travis Lulay is doing, what Darian Durant did 2 years ago in his first year starting. 7 years before he really got going as a starter for Anthony Calvillo.
So 1st and 20. That pass incomplete. Intended for Brian Bratton.
And it was so long ago that I was in uniform when he was a Las Vegas Posse.
A long time ago.
And I remember playing against a very, very young Anthony Calvillo. Here's his Hamilton days. Earl Winfield in the corner of the end zone, backed up Tracy Ham for 3 years. Was that Climby? That was a good, tough catch for Climby. I can hear him shifting in his chair right now.
Preening. 2nd and 20. Over the middle, ball kicked and dropped, and got a fumble or an incompletion. Incomplete. S.J. Green almost had another for the highlight reel, but couldn't put it away.
I think this is the right call. It didn't look like S.J. Green, even after the tip, had control of the football long enough to constitute a catch and a fumble. Ball over the middle.
Jason Pottinger got his hand on it, and
yes,
Green
sir.
could not secure it with Wes Lysak on the scene. So that will delay things even more as the Argo defense forces this punt. Sean White to Chad Owens. That is 26. Trying to get outside. Now a cut back and ran into Jordan Younger, who was trying to clear some way for him. 37-yard kick, 4 on the return. The CFL on TSN is brought to you by Rhoda, proud partner of the Canadian Football League. And it's 8 teams. Such a beautiful day. Why would you want to be anywhere else? But I did wonder if they'd known that this could be the record date. Would the Alouettes ever have thought about scheduling it at Olympic Stadium? That's where they want to play the Eastern Final. Inside handoff, and Jeff Johnson, the ball carrier. Rear carry for Jeff in his 199th game as an Argo.
It is just his ninth carry all season. At 26 last year.
Breeze with 2nd and 7. 2 receivers go to the wide side for Stephen Giles. Pocket collapses, flag down, looking for Rodriguez, and he can't bring it in.
Second throw in the direction of Appreciate Rodriguez, both similar results in that he had a chance at both, and both ended up on the ground.
Holding Toronto, number 62. That penalty is declined. It'll be 3rd down.
That's the left tackle, Kaufman, for the injured Rob Murphy.
Yeah, and he gets a holding call, so it wouldn't have mattered. Appreciate Rodriguez made this catch or not, working on John Bowman, and just basically tackles him.
Fontaine gets set to kick it to Perry Floyd. Chip Cox on the rush, but Fontaine got it away. Floyd into the downfield cover again. Boy, the Argos have done a nice job in that department today. And I thought I had the best seat in the house along with you.
Yeah, he just had his turkey, and a gentleman just sitting back there on the porch. Hasn't paid for a ticket once in his life, and the best view.
Brandon Whitaker slicing into that Argo defense again. Up close to the 49. And Whitaker has 8 more.
Chipping away with Brandon Whitaker, Chris, but you know, the guy that's I keep waiting to kind of break out here this afternoon has been Jamel Richardson, who has quietly put 73 yards on the board in this game this afternoon, but just doesn't seem to be having that big game that he's had so often this season.
As this drive began, Calvillo 109 away. Second and short, the play action fake, and they want a big play here, but they're not going to get it. Intended for Jamel Richardson, and good coverage on the play from second-year man Evan McCullough.
Yeah, you just started to get the feeling that they were going to try and break free with Richardson. They last week hit his season-long throw, 59-yarder to Richardson against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and take a look at his route because he's there. I mean, he has inside leverage and a little bit more air on that football, and he has a great chance at a big play.
So the 5th 2-and-out of the day. White the boot, and that sends Owens backpedaling. Fumbled it, and has to read it back at the 2. Might have been wise to just let it bounce in. It's a 57-yarder for Sean White, and trouble for Stephen Giles and the Argonauts. Well, happy Thanksgiving to our crew.
Absolutely.
Now working on that turkey down below.
It's our producer John Hines and our
Dave Ryan, our audio man.
Director Paul Hemming. Jen.
Jen's a big Argo fan. He's happy with what's going on here so far today, I think.
Well, wait a minute. The entire crew is supposed to be neutral, are we not? And what I loved about the shot from the truck is that, and one thing that I'm thankful for, has been able to spend all these years in this job with a crew so dedicated to what they do and so in love with the Canadian Football League.
Well done, boys. Stephen Giles in the end zone, and we pull it down. It's a safety. Anwar Stewart's done it again.
Last 4 games as a regular starter, Anwar Stewart put 12 tackles on the board, and this will be his 4th sack over that time. He just makes plays. He has 63 career. This will be his 64th career sack for Anwar Stewart. That leads all Alouettes since '96 when they returned back to Montreal.
Colton Hopkins with some inside pressure, but you saw Stewart get around Chris Van Zyl.
That's right. I forgot about the other one. That's actually 65th career sack for Anwar Stewart. He has had 2 this afternoon.
Lots of veterans, and there's been a few this year complaining about their lack of time and then having to apologize because they complained. But after they got back in the lineup, a guy like Anwar Stewart's made an enormous impact, as you said, in the last month.
I admire when a veteran like Anwar Stewart, and not just a veteran but a superstar, he runs into a challenge and may have limited playing time because of a coach's decision, which is out of his control, but maintains that professional attitude. He just does not complain. He'll go and talk to the coach, ask what he has to do to get back into the starting lineup. I asked him about it yesterday, and he smiled. He said, you know, the one thing I knew is when I got my opportunity, I was going to take the best of it, and I wanted to be a good team guy, and that's what professionals do.
Now the Argos have to kick off from their 25. 1-point game now. Argos with the lead, but the ball will get right back into the hands of Anthony Calvillo. And Floyd across the 40 up to about the 43. Well, prior to that Sean White kick, I was going to say if the Argos could sustain a drive, take some time off the clock in the 3rd quarter, we might very well have a record that might not be done today, but Calvillo gets the ball right back here with 8.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter.
Again, Calvillo telling us yesterday that his focus and complete concentration is on this game, and he has to find a way to get his offense back in rhythm. And full credit to the Toronto Argonaut defense. They've come with a good game plan. They've made it difficult, and they're going to make them work for that 109 yards.
13 of 24 on the day. And now checks down to Whitaker, who takes the tackle of Willie Pyle and ends up with a first down.
That's how important this guy is, Brandon Whitaker. When you go play action to the same player you're going to throw the football to. And the one thing about Anthony Calvillo in his career, and other quarterbacks will tell you, this is a guy who always knows where his check down man is. If he doesn't like what he sees down the field with the coverage, he knows exactly where his back is, his check down man. He gets it to him as quick as he can.
There are yards after the catch. Brandon Whitaker, third in the league in that department. 375 gap yards coming in, and now carries the football down to the 51. 4 more for Brandon Whitaker. So Anthony Calvillo on that last completion to Whitaker gets inside 100 away from a record at 97 yards to pass Damon Allen. Second and 6. That pass is caught. Quick tackle made by Younger. Let's see where they spot the football. Right at about the first down. They mark it at the 45. And it is indeed a first down, Montreal.
S.J. Green getting a good run at the line of scrimmage and still pretty tight coverage. He has to work back to this football. Excuse me, Jamel Richardson worked back to this football.
That's 3 second down conversion catches for the league leader Richardson on the day, up to 35 on the year. First down, Whitaker over the backfield, bounces off Byron Parker and has another first down, finished off by the middle linebacker Jason Pottinger, who comes up limping.
Now 77 yards to go. And maybe more importantly for the Alouettes and their fans is that they're getting their offense going now. They get the back-to-back first downs. Damon Allen watching. They will stop the game to celebrate the accomplishment when Anthony Calvillo throws for 77 more yards.
First down, fake to Whitaker, and Calvillo does toss it. And complete. There's some extra yards. And another Montreal first down. The catch made by S.J. Green.
Now, good patience here by Calvillo. Just gets outside of the pocket. Looked like he had lots of room to go ahead and run, something he doesn't do very often. Just one carry per game, basically, throughout the season. He finds S.J. Green, drops it to him, and lets him get the yards after the catch.
Well, the Alouettes have marched it to the Argo 15, 1st and 10. Brandon London is checked back into the Alouette offense. 5 receivers set. Whitaker stays in. There's Pratt with the catch. Driven back. He's going to end up losing yards as Lynn J. Schill was there defensively.
Basically, worst case scenario for Brian Bratton, who, you know, if he goes down there, he gets forward progress and probably 4 or 5 yards. But because he was able to regain his balance, and he just does that by instinct, really not his fault, but doesn't get any of that forward progress, and it's actually now second and more than 10. But the Owls can get a first down before scoring.
So it's 2nd and 14. Back at the 19-yard line. Pressure on. Calvillo steps up. He'll take off. He's going to run it in. Touchdown. Anthony Calvillo has his first of the year. That's no way to set a passing record.
His focus is on this game and the race for first place in the East Division. And that proves it right there, that is more important than a record that we all know will fall as long as he stays on the field healthy. And what a pump fake to freeze the defense when he gets out of that pocket. Finds the opening and looks fast.
19-yard run, his longest run of the year, 20. Doesn't take off much. It's cleared for the first time, late the extra point. And the Alouettes have claimed the lead here with 4:11 to go, third quarter.
Let's show you how that pump fake is going to influence linebacker Jason Pottinger, who's going to drop in the defensive coverage here. And then as Anthony Calvillo steps up, and this pump fake right here gets him drawn right into the middle. He thinks the ball's going in that side. That opens up the lane for Calvillo to run and shows pretty good speed.
Hey, Damon Allen's here. Why not show off a little bit?
There you go.
Now 65 yards away, a high short kick. And brought down at the 50-yard line. Taking a big deep breath, has a bruised sternum because of the hit he took last week against the Bombers. His two girls and wife Alexia were in the stands, but now downstairs just in case. And I'm not sure the girls are really too concerned about whether Dad gets another football to put on that mantle. Well, the Argos offense has been stuck in this third quarter, just 24 yards. There's a positive play on first down as Billy Parker runs Chad Owens out.
Well, that's been the issue, Chris, and you mentioned it in the first half, that the time of possession advantage when these two teams play is so lopsided in Montreal's favor that sooner or later that defense will get worn down. I mean, they have to put some first downs together, at least to give their defense a little bit of a rest, if anything. And first down production like that will go a long way towards doing that for the Argos.
Chad Owens has his fourth catch of the day. Sets up second and less than a yard. And the Argos will fake it to Boyd, and Giles in trouble. And, well, he was going to be dropped by Billy Parker, but a flag comes out, and Parker will be called for either horse collar or a face mask on the play.
You know, and that's an option.
Major foul, face mask. Montreal number 17. 15 yards from the original point of last scrimmage.
Wow.
First down.
You know, that bails out the Argos, that penalty on Billy Parker, because I just don't get that call. I know it's an option for Stephen Giles on that type of play, but when you're a yard away from a first down and you absolutely have to start moving the chains to give your defense a rest, and you pull the ball and take a loss, I mean, it's barely a face mask call. So the Argos very fortunate they got that call. I just don't get it. Why you don't give the ball to Corey Boyd in that case?
Big break for the Argos. There's that zone read, and Giles takes off. Stephen Giles with a feet first slide around the 25-yard line. Giles came into the game with 249 yards in just 4 games, so he can take off.
On his last 3, an 8.4 yards average, and Jamie Elizondo, the offensive coordinator, if he heard what I just said, he would have said, this is why we run that play. Because when we get Stephen Giles outside, he can pick up big yards like this. But my argument would remain the same. 2nd and 1 or less, I'm giving it to Corey Boyd. That's my best chance.
19-yard play. The Argos now threatening, and they'll swing it to Owens with the catch. And a first down. Chad Owens is dropped at the 12-yard line. Dodger Dix with the tackle, but for the first time in the second half, the Argos moving the football.
How many times have we seen a quarterback throw this play, which should be a real pretty easy throw, but throw it a little bit behind the intended target, and when he does, it forces a guy like Chad Owens to turn back and take his eyes off the downfield and where he can make the move. That ball put right in front of him so Chad Owens could keep his vision upfield and how to avoid the tacklers in front of him.
At the 11, the Argos can make a first down without scoring. Here comes the heat into the end zone for Rideau and out of his reach. Well, they've been sending a steady dose of pressure on Stephen Giles today, and that time it was Diamond Ferry.
Pressure on Stephen Giles because Brandon Rideau wasn't open when he threw the football. And this time, very, very careful there. He's got to be careful not to go down a little bit lower. He gets any lower on Stephen Giles, he's drawing another penalty flag and will probably be on the bench in a hurry again.
Second and 10. Off the edge, pressure into the end zone and through the back of the end zone. Greg Leyburn was stride for stride with Spencer Watt.
Guy we haven't talked about much, and a guy that I don't think started this football game, but comes off the edge here in John Bowman, a guy with 8 sacks on the season, and he's going to provide some pressure. He comes in outside step and then comes on an inside move on Kaufman.
8 sacks of the year, 2 of them against the Argonauts. So the field goal unit has to come on for Toronto to cut this 6-point lead in half. Prefontaine makes it 22-19. This is Our League is brought to you by Nissan.
And it's Anthony Calvillo on the marquee. And early this morning, this was his locker. Of course, the first always to arrive just after 9:30 this morning for a 1 o'clock kickoff, and going over his playlist pre-game, and then coming out and taking the field for warm-up for the Montreal Alouettes with his girls and his wife Alexia in the stands. And it's been his afternoon. He needs just over 70 yards to get there.
He's got to like game day. Doesn't have to be here at 5:30. Well, they'll start at the 35. Room on the field for the drive to produce a record. Over the middle. That'll cut into it. There's a big catch for Kerry Watkins up at midfield.
That's going to cut into that 65 yards as now we get real close, and it looked like Kerry Watkins here. He's really going to dig hard on this dig route. And all the receivers, as John Lou mentioned early on, would love to be the answer to that trivia question and catch that record-breaking football when Anthony Calvillo crosses the threshold. And they're running their routes hard right now to get open.
45 yards away as Watkins' grab is good for 20. Handoff inside, Whitaker. 5 more. It was funny on the last series for the Alouettes. The record actually went backwards for 4 yards on that loss by Brian Bratton, making it hard on the old guy.
I was going to say that's why I thought it was 70, and then it went down to 65. That big throw over the middle gets him that much closer. So we're getting there, and it looks like it's going to be the 4th quarter when Anthony Calvillo becomes the all-time leading passer.
Final play, 3rd quarter. 2nd and a long 5. He's got Jamel Richardson. Still going. It might be right here. He's passed the ball. Anthony Calvillo is the all-time Canadian Football League and pro football passing leader. Thanksgiving Day 2011, history made at Percival Molson, AC, all time.
They are on their feet here in Montreal.
And a spectacular play by Jamel Richardson that will get well lost in the euphoria of one of the great Canadian Football League records.
Congratulations, man. ever. Football League. And I would say Anthony Calvillo is the #1, the best pure passer, the best pure pocket passer in Canadian Football League history.
Nice touch by Jermaine Copeland to come over and congratulate his former teammate. And a guy who didn't want the game to be disrupted picked the perfect time, the final play of the third quarter. They were going to have to break anyway, but we're going to take time to salute a CFL and pro football all-time great. Years, all the adversity, and now all time. Special video presentation upcoming here in Montreal.
Et maintenant, voici le décompte des 5 plus grands passeurs de l'histoire du football professionnel. And now, here's a look at the top 5 passers in pro football history. Au 5e rang, Dan Marino.
The intricacies of this offense, some of the option routes and various things.
Marino changing the play on the 2nd and 9 and throwing sideline, and he has the record. Irving Dwyer on the catch.
Anthony, Dan Marino here. Congratulations on becoming pro football's all-time leading passer. If anyone knows what it takes to throw for that many yards, it's me. Good luck the rest of the season, Anthony, and go Alouettes.
Au 4e rang, Warren Moon.
So it's the Eskimos' ball once more on their 26. Moon wants to go up top again. There's pressure. He rolls left and delivers on the dead run to speedster Waddell Smith.
Darrell Williams and yet another stop for the Cincinnati Bengals as Moon pump fakes all day long. Goes to an open man, and it's a touchdown.
First of all, I want to congratulate you, Anthony, on a great career so far. 18 years of consistent football shows great longevity. You've been a champion 3 different times. But I want to give you a special congratulations on being the total yardage passing leader in the history of professional football. It's a record that I've held before, and I thought it was very special. Records are made to be broken, so you enjoy it while you have it. But congratulations on being that. What a great honor it is for you.
Au 3e rang, Brett Favre.
First and 10 from the 38, and Mark pass is caught by Donald Driver, and there it is. Brett Favre has now passed for more yards in his career than any other quarterback in National Football League history.
Au 2e rang, Damon Allen.
First and 10 from the 29. Allen takes the snap, rolls to his left, tosses underneath to Bruce. Here goes Bruce up the middle. 20, down to the 10, towards the 5, spin move, Bruce, end zone, touchdown, oh my! And Damon Allen is professional football's all-time leading passer, surpassing Warren Moon, as we've just witnessed Damon Allen do what no other quarterback has done in the history of the game.
My good friend Anthony, Ronnie Lancaster held the record for 22 seasons before I broke it in 2000. And that was only 50,000 yards. I put the mark to 72,000 plus yards, and I can't even hold it for 3 seasons. It really shows your dedication and your commitment to your craft. Congratulations on becoming the all-time leading passer in Canadian Football League history and football in general. A job well done.
Et au premier rang, Anthony Calvillo.
Hi, bonjour. This is Chris Berman of ESPN. Je m'appelle Chris Berman de ESPN. A hearty congratulations to Anthony Calvillo for being pro football's all-time leading passer in yards. Now, we've always enjoyed watching you, the man I affectionately call the Kurt Warner of Canada. You've won multiple Grey Cups and won many more hearts. by the dignified way that you fought and beat cancer. And now, you've reached the unreachable star. Incroyable. Félicitations, Anthony, and merci pour toutes les saisons de grandeur.
Anthony, tu es incroyable. You are one of the best players to ever play this game, but you're even a finer human being. You inspire all of us, and just please, please, keep on playing. Make it a few more years. Félicitations.
Et maintenant, donnons la parole à Ray Lalonde, président et chef de la direction des Alouettes de Montréal.
Bonjour à tous. D'abord, au nom de M. Wettenhall et de toute la famille des Alouettes, je voudrais féliciter toi. Bravo, Anthony. Anthony a joué pendant 18 saisons dans la Ligue canadienne, dont 14 avec les Alouettes. Quel privilège de l'avoir avec nous depuis 14 ans. Anthony, congratulations on behalf of Mr. Wettenhall and all of the Alouettes family for this incredible moment. Good job.
Merci, messieurs Cohan et Lalonde. Et surtout, félicitations, Anthony Calvillo. Congratulations, Anthony. Et maintenant, en route pour 80 000 verges.
.72, .382, and counting, and what a spectacular way to set the mark. A 50-yard touchdown strike to Jamel Richardson on the final play of the third quarter. Still got some football to play here. But the Montreal Alouettes have established a 10-point lead as we head to the fourth quarter on a record-setting day in Montreal. Well, it looked like Jamel Richardson wanted to be the answer to a trivia question. A terrific play by Richardson to make the record happen on the final play of the quarter.
72,387 yards now for Anthony Calvillo in dramatic fashion, fitting that he threw to Jamel Richardson, who's having such a great season all year long. And you know, on Thanksgiving Monday, Chris, I'm thankful for being able to watch a guy as good as Anthony Calvillo throughout his career from up here in the booth and just watch how consistent he has been. And like the commissioner mentioned, even a better person off the field.
You know, it's a team game, but it's great to be around a record-setting performance. We've seen a few of them. This may be the most significant and the most memorable. Damon Allen along the sidelines, as Ron Lancaster was when Damon Allen passed number 23 to break the record. Another high, short kickoff as the ball is fielded just beyond the 40-yard line. Argo's still very much in this game. Down by 10 with a full quarter to go.
5 seasons over 5,000 yards. 1 season in 2004 over 6,000 yards. This is his 10th over 4,000. And the reaction as Anthony Calvillo becomes the all-time leader in football. And just absolutely outstanding that Warren Moon and Dan Marino would send out their special congratulations. Chris Berman from the States.
Here's Corey Boyd with a hard run to the 44. There'll always be that debate, but you heard what Warren Moon said. It meant a lot to him to be the all-time pro passing leader. And now that is the claim of Anthony Calvillo.
Yeah, I think he has the great respect of quarterbacks who have had to stand in that pocket with the bullets flying around him. No matter what league you're playing in, still guys trying to tackle you, come after you, and to play as long and as well as he has. It's truly an amazing accomplishment.
Saw some emotion from the veteran quarterback. Here's Giles on second down. He'll take off. He'll run for a first down. And he'll get taken down at the Alouette 45-yard line by Diamond Ferry. Big first down for the Argos. Because again, this game's not done. The record is over. But lots of time left, and the Alouettes' #1 focus is to put a W up in the win column at the end of the day.
Yeah, and the Argos would love to spoil the party a little bit by trying to come back and steal one here. And a good move in the open field on Ramon Guzman.
3 carries, 43 yards for Giles. First down. Fake to Corey Boyd. Giles on the roll, and he's unable to hook up with Chad Owens. Was trying to direct him further downfield.
Three-time outstanding player in the Canadian Football League. And every teammate that I talked to yesterday, and asked, you tell me in your words, what makes him one of the best, if not the best, in the history of the game. And to a man, they didn't talk about his release, his ability to read. To a man, they talked about his work ethic. How much he studies, how much he works at getting better.
Well, pressure off the edge. Chip Cox with the knockdown. Well, somewhere Tracy Ham is watching and cheering him today, and this record probably not possible without the tutelage of one of the all-time greats, Tracy Ham.
Well, he played behind him for over 3 years. I mean, he learned a lot from Tracy Ham and a different style quarterbacks, but he learned how to be a pro. He learned how to make sure that you were that leader by example, that you were coming in at 5:30 in the morning and studying more film than even the coaching staff does. It's what he's been throughout his career, and that's why he's where he's at.
Prefontaine, the line drive kick, wants the sidelines, picked up by Floyd, and he'll step out just short of the 20-yard line. Anthony Calvillo, our record setter today.
Legends of all time, now on any team you want. NHL 12, rated everyone 10 and up. EA Sports, it's in the game.
Typical night where I work, people get upset. People get angry. Someone with a knife, someone with a gun, little kids between you. They're terrified, and they need you to do something. You go in, you lose your life. You don't, somebody innocent dies. That's a typical night. In real life, heroes are human. And that's why I support the Temaconter Memorial Trust. To learn more about PTSD and its effects on emergency personnel, visit tema.ca.
There's #1. John Liu is with #2 in all-time CFL history.
Well, Damon, in the video tribute to Anthony Calvillo, you said that when you retired, you didn't think that Calvillo would beat this mark so quickly. When you consider that touchdown passes and completions and yardage all fell this season, put into perspective how monumental a year it's been for him.
Well, it's been an outstanding year for him, and not only an outstanding year, but throughout his whole career. And I think, when it's all said and done, he can look back and realize the path he took, the many different challenges, learning the game, but the fact that at some point, Tracy Ham was a mentor to him and help, and I'm really good friends with Tracy Ham, and the fact that we're friends and we all go through the same thing, I can truly appreciate what he's done, and it's really exciting to be out here and honor it. Right, your records are meant to be broken, and so I'm really fine with it.
Because you and Anthony are friends, Damon, what contact have you had with him throughout the course of this season as he was passing your milestones?
Well, not necessarily throughout the season, but I think more so when he was going through his challenges with his family and also his situation. You know, those are the times you really reach out to him. You know, as far as playing the game of football, man, the guy knows what he's doing. And so we don't talk very much about football, but more so about, you know, really serious issues when it does come to your family and yourself, you know, health. You know, I just let him know that I was praying for him and thinking about him. And at the same time, the fact that, like I said, Tracy Ham, myself, and Anthony are all friends, it makes it that much easier. So.
Damon Allen, thank you for being here for Anthony Calvillo and with us. We'll send it back to you guys.
Hey, he's a great player.
John, I thought about how special the moment was when the torch was passed from Ron Lancaster to Damon Allen, and now here today, class gesture by Allen, one of the all-time greats. Sooner or later, we'll get him in the Hall of Fame. Brian Bratton with a catch. You know, I thought Herb Zurkowski had a great article in the Montreal Gazette this week about the first year in Las Vegas with Coach Ron Meyer, who had 9 different quarterbacks in Las Vegas posse camp, and he said this guy didn't have the physical tools of many of the other ones, but he called him my sea biscuit. It's a guy who didn't look like he was a thoroughbred, but turned out to be better than them all.
And you heard Damon Allen talk about his challenges off the field with cancer, with his wife Alexia there, and himself as well. To battle that and to battle it and get that perspective on life. And when we talked to him yesterday, he said because of that experience and their family battling through that, first of all, they've become such a great inspiration for so many people in this country and in the States as well that are going through similar situations in their families. And he said, we want to make and have made Montreal our home. And when he retires, he and his family with Alexia will be here in Montreal, permanent residents.
2nd and 9 for the Alouettes. Dumped off underneath. Whitaker trying to bounce it outside. Second effort to the 48, but he'll be a couple of yards short. Under 10 to go.
It's funny, though, you know, about 3 times when he was asked in different ways yesterday, he said to me, he said, you know, I'm not going to be able to enjoy it. I just, you know, the game is important, and we've got to win that game. And I don't want to deviate at all from my routine other than when, if it happens, they stop the game for it. And obviously they had to there. But he's trying to stay focused, and he says that's something I'll try and enjoy a little bit more once this game is taken care of.
Good boot by White. Owens up to the 24-yard line. 50-yard boot, 11 on the return. We're in the 4th quarter on a historic day in Montreal. The CFL on TSN is brought to you by GMC Sierra, the most durable, longest-lasting full-size pickup on the road. Argos with the football, just over 9.5 minutes left. At the half, now down by 10. First down. Brandon Rideau's got a catch in front of Billy Parker.
John Lou mentioned the football when the record was broken and what would happen with it in what trophy case, and Jamel Richardson threw it into the stand.
What was he thinking?
Now, it was fished out, so the official ball was found, and I'm not sure which fan, but in section P1.
Let's hats off to those guys.
Absolutely, for whoever had that football and gave it back to the organization and back to Anthony Calvillo.
I don't know, that might be a fine on Richardson.
Yeah, he didn't even realize, tosses it into the crowd. And you got to figure that at some point, one of these footballs from this game will go to the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. But I know, talking to Anthony Calvillo yesterday, that he said that one that does break the record, he certainly wants to have that in his trophy case. So, hey, hats off to whoever it was in section P1 who threw that ball back to the organization.
Got Richardson off the hook.
I guess.
First down, another zone read. And Stephen Giles kicks it outside with John Bowman in pursuit. Won't catch him. That's a first down for the Argo quarterback. Modest day for Giles, but we have seen some pretty good evidence of what he can bring to the table with that scrambling ability.
Well, and the priority in the offseason for Toronto will be to help him, to get him help, get him first of all signed to a contract. I know that the coaching staff would like to see that happen, an extension, and then once Jim Barker, if he can accomplish that, then he's going to have to get him some help, and that means to start to build up his receiving corps.
5 games, he's doubled the rushing yards the other Argo quarterbacks have put together this year, and that slant is caught. Mike Bradwell the catch, his first of the day. Argos have a first down at the Alouette 40.
And guys like Mike Bradwell, and when you look at Spencer Watt, or good young Canadian talent, is certainly Spencer Watt in just his second year. So you can start there and take a look at him running this slant route. You know that Jermaine Copeland is likely in either his last year or very close, and his role changes completely next year, I'm sure, and has talked about wanting to move into coaching ranks. And then some guys they're looking at tonight, like Richer Rodriguez, Brandon Rideau, that they want an invite. They better make something happen.
Go double tight end and hand it off to Boyd. Not much there as Corey Boyd is dumped by Diamond Ferry just beyond the line of scrimmage. But they've got to get a go-to guy for Stephen Giles.
Yeah. And they haven't had one, and they haven't had one for some time. I mean, and that's with all due respect to the great career of Jermaine Copeland and the important and the leadership that he's brought to this organization. Receivers become professionals, but obviously his production is an indication of where, or lack of it, is really where he's at. It's been a great career, but they've got to get help in the receiving corps for next year.
As we said, closing in on 10,000 yards. 27 touchdown catches from Anthony Calvillo. Giles under pressure. And Billy Colt 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So the Alouettes' pressure really confounded the Argos that time.
And the pressure is coming from Diamond Ferry. Had that early penalty, but since then he's been trying to tell his coach by his play that he needs to stay on the field, and he will be disciplined. And boy, does he shoot this gap in a hurry, and no one there to block him. Stephen Giles barely gets rid of that football.
And the Argos take a loss once again in field goal range. Has changed the mind of the coach, and now they will try one from 52 yards out, so it will be Prefontaine, but that's twice now. Earlier in this game, late in the first half, they punting when they took a loss. And this one will not be good. And it will be brought out by Floyd. Trying to get to the outside, and Perry Floyd is tackled up at the 18-yard line. And a huge game at Commonwealth today with a large throng on Thanksgiving Monday. Alouettes have the football and the lead. Has the record from the 18 of 18, tripped up at the 24-yard line. Jamel Richardson. You'll be seeing that highlight a lot.
Oh, yes, you will. They had to fish the ball out of the crowd, but they got it, and there it is on the trophy.
2nd and 4, Calvillo. Pass. S.J. Green somehow brought that in. Another one-hander by a guy who makes it look easy.
Yeah, he sure does. Look down on his elbow. He's probably got a little turf burn on this, and just reaches out with the right hand.
Wow.
Absolutely amazing how many times S.J. Green has made these.
So they give him the ball back again, and he has a first down. You know, Suits, it was fun doing a little reflection on Anthony Calvillo's career. His 3 best games were before he really became a great quarterback in Las Vegas and 2 in Hamilton. 551 yards back in '94, 1 game against the Ottawa Renegades. against Montreal as a Hamilton Ticat. He had 542, 518 against Saskatchewan in '96. But in those games, he threw 10 interceptions and 9 touchdowns. So he hadn't figured everything out yet. Can you imagine 10 interceptions in 3 games for him? That's a season's worth and maybe a lot more now.
Well, and he's over 300 yards passing for the 112th time in his career. Simply amazing. He's thrown for over 428 times. You think about the last 9 seasons, Chris, since 2002. It's been 45,934 yards coming into this game. That's an average of over 5,000 a season.
And that's not including the postseason. By the way, 5,353 yards more in playoff and Grey Cup games.
8 Grey Cup appearances.
Second and a little more than 10, and that ball tipped by Willie Pyle,
who had an interception earlier in this game. Just the 5th for Anthony Calvillo on the season.
Pyle, though, will be lamenting the tackle missed on the Richardson touchdown romp. Knocked him off stride, but the 6'3", 215-pounder stayed upright and provided Anthony Calvillo with his record-breaking moment.
Yeah, Willie Pyle will know he'll be on that highlight.
Guys, come on!
Forever.
Guys, back to the 40!
Sean White working the clock right down. Owens at his 26. Good coverage, but Warner Jones part of it. Walter Spencer's there. And there'll be one more play before the 3-minute warning.
Tough slugging a little bit for Stephen Giles, especially in the second half. Montreal D with 3 sacks in this game. They've had 5 hits on the quarterback and 5 hurries. So when he's been back in that pocket or rolling, trying to pass, it's been difficult for Stephen Giles to get that time necessary.
At 185 yards on the day, has not exceeded 254 a game since joining the Argos. Add to his totals there on a pass for Brandon Rideau as they give the 3-minute warning here in Montreal.
It's Speed Weekend on TSN and TSN2. It's the Nationwide Series from the... And later, it's qualifying for the Korean Grand Prix on TSN. Saturday, the chase for the Sprint Cup continues. 7 Eastern on TSN2. And then late night, it's the Korean Grand Prix on TSN. Speed Weekend starts Friday on TSN and TSN2.
Captain, make it happen.
Hey, Mom.
How's it going?
Doing this chem problem. These are cool. Thank you.
I'll let you get back to your stuff.
Cialis. Ask your doctor. All the freshness of Ireland is captured in every bottle of Irish Spring body wash. Freshness of Irish Spring, now in an antiperspirant.
The Alouettes can preserve this victory. 10-point lead. It'll be the 16th consecutive trip to the postseason. Giles on second down, open man, and Riche Rodriguez has a first down for Toronto. Time now for our game story, and it's brought to you by Mr. Lou.
Is there any other? Anthony Calvillo makes history. The all-time leader in football, in pro football, with 1,000 yards, 306 yards passing in this game so far here this afternoon. And an honorable mention and special mention to Section P.
Flag down, and so is Giles on a heavy jolt from John Bowman.
Because Section P was nice enough to give the ball back after Jamel Richardson threw it up in there on the record-breaking catch. And they knew how important it was to that guy.
Offside, Toronto, number 2. The penalty is declined. It'll be second down.
Chad Owens jumped the gun.
He said he wanted to do it at home weekend, or they're back at home again next weekend. And it's interesting because next weekend the Owls will play the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and you know, in AC milestones, 20,000 was against Hamilton in 01, 30,000 against Hamilton in 03, 50,000 against Hamilton in 07. I thought he might get it next week.
Here goes Giles taking off again. He dropped the football. Montreal got it. It slipped up. Gives it right back to Ramon Guzman, the Alouette middle linebacker. Thank you very much, says Guzman.
Oh, Stephen Giles, I don't believe he was hit there as he was going down. I think he just lost the handle. Got to cover up both tips of the football, and the one under his arm was loose. Set with himself.
Well, the Alouettes' final 4 games, enormous. Home to Hamilton, in against Calgary, and then finish in BC. So first place in the East. Far from a lock for Mark Trestman. They got pushed today by the Argos. Whitaker down to the 41. Jim Barker, also part of the Anthony Calvillo story, the offensive coordinator for the Grey Cup champion Alouettes in 2002.
Said to me yesterday that when I asked him about the record and what it would mean to be part of it as his coach, and basically focused on his team first and their goals and objectives, and that was to win this game. And he also said that it has been fun, though, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said it's been fun to be along for the ride. And you know, when he first got here in Montreal, it was sort of just blind faith. Film and the tape of Calvillo, and he said, you know, we want to go into the first season here with a veteran quarterback. And then he just marveled at his professionalism and his work ethic and how he transcended the locker room, as he said many times. And Mark Trestman has said the most important person in the organization, and that includes owners and presidents and everybody, is your quarterback.
Whitaker again, third straight time against the Argos as the Alouettes poised to sweep them, and Whitaker's going to add a lot more. Down to the 14-yard line. Brandon Whitaker, who's got over 1,000 for the first time since he was a high school running back here in this.
He really helped get this offense going. And you know, in my conversation with Calvillo yesterday, the beginning of the season, I said, you know, forget about the records. Is this your last year? And he's at the end of every season, but that he said he really would like to level to even. Been at 8, have won 3. And I said to him, wait a minute.
Drops. And the Argos are on it. Lynn J. Shell up with it on the turnover in the final minute.
So I asked him then, I said, okay, well, that means that you're going to have to win 2 more last year. And, you know, he's taken some hellacious hits this season. He's been knocked out, as a matter of fact, for the first time in his career against Edmonton. And I asked him the same question again yesterday. And he smiled and he said, again, season, but no, I would still like to come back. You know, and he's going to talk to his wife, Alexia, and their family. And some of those hits are taking.
It's been a grueling year. He came out of a game against Saskatchewan with Ward Bishon, the knockout from Marcus Howard in Edmonton. through sternum last week against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He's paid a price to get where he is. No question about that. Stephen Giles from his goal line dumps it off, and Corey Boyd will take off. And Boyd up across the 20-yard line.
But can you imagine where that number could get? If he played another year or maybe even two and get that number possibly to 80,000 yards. I mean,
well, Damon Allen said he thought the will last much longer.
Well, who's the active player that would even be in the ballpark? I think in the season now, but Henry Burris.
Stephen Giles doesn't want to go down. Up to the 28 with a half minute to go.
Ricky Ray will be playing in that game against Edmonton, Saskatchewan, following ours. When I mentioned it to him a few weeks back about Anthony Calvillo closing in, and I said, you're probably the only guy, you know, you're going to have to play probably another, I don't know, 10 years. He said, I can barely see past this game. So you're right, Chris. I don't know. I mean, I guess every record is made to be broken, but hard to imagine in today's day and age of free agency and player movement, and just how every year it seems the players get quicker, stronger, faster, and the toll and the pounding that quarterbacks take. Hard to imagine that record falling.
John Bowman shaking up on the play. What a self-made story, though. Again, the adversity he's gone through early in his career defied a lot of odds to savor this day. And the family enjoying it. AC out here with about a minute to go, and so we can finalize the stats through this game. For game 14 for the Alouettes on the year. And you know, he passes Anthony Calvillo. I was looking at it today. He's almost got more yards than the number 10 and 11 all-time quarterbacks in the CFL. That's how phenomenal that number has become. Giles underneath, and Rideau's got another 10. And we're talking about people like Tom Clements and Ken Ott, almost double that.
In his last 9 seasons alone, just no matter how you look at it, the numbers just overwhelming. And I think the great thing about sports, Chris, is the debate when you're sitting talking to your buddies about who's the best player ever and the positions. And you know, there's been so many great ones. Doug Flutie and Matt Dunnigan and Warren Moon, who was part of this conversation, and great that Warren Moon was part of that video presentation to congratulate Anthony Calvillo. But, you know, I just think as a pure passer, a guy who could read a defense and just distribute the football. Championships are there, the numbers are there, the MOPs are there. I mean, I think you're looking at the best pure passer in Canadian Football League history.
Could be the final play. And Giles is hauled down. Moulton Hopkins brought him down. We'll get one more play as Moulton Hopkins chalks up a sack. Well, the Argos were game today, but too much Montreal offense in this second half. The Argos have Calgary at home next, then Edmonton at home, and then Winnipeg on the road, and they'll finish against the Ticats. We've got an interesting final month in the CFL East, CFL altogether, with that Great Western race as well. But the Argos will be eliminated from all of that with this loss today.
Boy, it sets up a couple big games you mentioned for Mark Trestman. Hamilton next week, Winnipeg the week after.
This should be it. Giles downfield, flag flies, and that will give us one more play as Rodriguez